Buddy, what are you doing? Hey there, everybody. This is Jesse with Permofit. So, this is my third attempt to record this video. The first one was dark because I was taking my dog for a walk. We just got back. The second one, I recorded it under a lamppost, so it wasn't dark, but my microphone was turned off for both. And so anyways, this is a little cry for help. I brewed a couple batches of hard apple cider and 2 1-gallon batches. The first batch had, I just went to Albertsons, which if you don't have an Albertsons, it's just a grocery store. I went there and I bought a gallon of spiced apple cider. Looked pretty good. I added some anise seed and some, or anise, I don't know, however you pronounce it. Added some star anise, whatever. And a cup of confectionery sugar. Don't ask me why, but I did. And I know there's cornstarch in the confectionery sugar. Anyways, and I let it brew for, and I added a pack of 2-year-old champagne brewer's yeast, and it tolerates up to, I want to say, 18% alcohol. So that was the first batch. I noticed it wasn't doing much. I let it go for a week, and it was just barely fermenting. So the second batch, my daughter's peeking around the corner. Anyways, the second batch, I went and investigated my first batch, and I thought, oh, the yeast is probably too old. So I dug around, and I had several other packets of 2-year-old yeast, all the same brand and type. So I started those. I got them to ferment. I verified they fermented. The first batch I just pitched it right in. I didn't give it a chance to wake up or anything. So the second batch, I warmed up some water to the appropriate temperature, added a little bit of yeast nutrients. I added the yeast. I waited for it to start doing its thing and foaming up and everything. I added that to the batch. So I ended up adding 3 packets of yeast to, it's all old yeast, but I verified the yeast worked, to the batch of cider. And the fermentation did not pick up that much. So I looked on the container, the stuff I bought, turns out it's got preservatives that have yeast inhibitors, so it doesn't necessarily kill yeast, but it keeps it from multiplying, so I think that really stalled the fermentation. So it ended up, after taking a hydrometer reading, it looked like it wasn't going to be any more than about 3% alcohol. After a week, I started a second batch. I just went and got some, I let the first batch go. I got some organic spiced apple cider vinegar, or spiced apple cider, not vinegar, spiced apple cider, and I made sure it had no other ingredients other than, oh, I don't even think it was spiced. It was just apples and water. That was the only ingredients. And I put a pound of regular just table sugar in it. And I took a hydrometer reading, and it was predicting about 13% alcohol. So I started my yeast with yeast nutrients. I added a little bit of, that first batch I also added some pectic enzyme to it for clarification. And it turned out clear. The flavor of that first batch turned out not bad, but it was low alcohol. Second batch, I only added what I used to get the yeast. I added a little bit of yeast nutrients. I think like 3/4 of a tablespoon or something like that of a blend I get from my local home brew store. Anyways, I got the yeast going. I pitched that into the cider, and after I made sure everything was sterilized, and that one started fermenting vigorously. I mean, it had a pound of sugar and yeast nutrients. What do you expect? I took a reading of that. It was predicting 13% alcohol. I let it go for a week, week and a few days, and I took both the bottles. I put them in a 5-gallon carboy. I blended them basically, siphoning basically a secondary fermenter. I let that go for, I want to say 24 or 48 hours, I don't remember. But I added a little bit of more pectic enzyme and a little bit of tannin to it, and then I bottled it. And this is one of the bottles. Not super clear. It still has a little bit of residue on the bottom. It's a little murky, but it's not horrible. And but the taste isn't very good, and the smell isn't very good. I think it smells a little yeasty. It doesn't have yeast taste though. Wife doesn't think it's yeast, but it's off. And I need some input. This is only my first time I've brewed cider before. I've brewed some mead, some wine, and a little bit of beer in the past. But anyways, just need some input. Oh, in the second batch I used fresh yeast. I went and bought some.
Make sure to subscribe.
That's my daughter interjecting inappropriately. But anyways, I should be, by the time I upload this, I should be at 1,000 subscribers, which is pretty awesome, or really close. So if I'm not subscribed, so I can be at 1,000 subscribers, it'd be awesome. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate you guys sticking around. I know a lot of you guys come from the video I did on the starter. I actually did 3 videos on the starter some time ago. So I appreciate that. That video's got a little over 300,000 or 320,000 views, which is mind-blowing. But anyways, if you've brewed before, I could use some pointers. Leave them in the comments. And if you haven't, share it with somebody who has brewed before, cider specifically, and let me know. All right, thanks guys. Bye.